So everybody, please, be aware that that second shutdown can be coming. Most likely will be coming. I can't tell anybody what to do. I would never want to do that. We did meet with financial advisors at the Chesapeake Food Drive who did suggest with those next 2 paychecks coming, just kind of holding on to your funds as long as you can to pay for gas and food, because they are, thinking that the next shutdown will be a lot longer, and that's why they're trying to get people some funds as soon as possible.
Welcome back to Adventures from the Home Front. I'm Jessica, this is Amanda, Kate, and Olivia, and this is a channel for the military community where we can all share our journey together as we navigate life. So today's topic is kind of a sensitive one. We are talking about the government shutdown. So before we get into everything, we just want to preface this video by saying that we are by no means experts on this topic. We are just sharing our opinions and our beliefs and our experiences of what has happened to us. And we're just going to kind of try and stay on the facts and not put like a biased opinion on things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I guess the best way to start is for Amanda to go ahead and share her story, because you actually are a Coast Guard wife, so this is affecting you more than anybody.
Yes, it has been, the last couple of weeks have been a real roller coaster. I will be the first to say that, me and my husband have been together since 2007. We have had multiple scares. I think our first scare came back in 2011. But since then, no shutdowns have really happened. We've never lost a paycheck. So I will definitely say, towards the end of last year, when they talked about having a shutdown, I definitely just, blew it to the wind. I would have never ever thought in a million years that any branch of our military would go unpaid.
I don't think anybody thought that this was going to happen.
Because they said, in the very beginning that we weren't going to get paid on the 1st. Yeah. So when they came back and, ended up paying us, I was kind of like, see, I told you, there's no way that they're going to go without paying their military. There's just absolutely no way. And then when the 15th came and we did not get paid, I think that was like the biggest eye opener.
Like it just hit you all of a sudden.
It hit me, and my husband was he was very optimistic. He was like, it only takes 3 or 4 days. He was like, even if next week they come around and they make a deal, we should get paid quickly, or we're gonna get back paid, we'll figure this out. But when you're working with a mortgage and electricity and car payments and stuff like that,
well, and you guys had just moved.
Yes. So we actually moved 2 times in a row. So Hawaii, when we were in Hawaii, this was 2 years ago. BAH is really good. I was working. We didn't have our son. We had quite a bit in savings. Well, the year that we moved, I gave birth to my son, and we ended up buying a house in Boston, and we were paying double rent in Boston and Hawaii, because we had heard that Salem was very hard to buy into. So this house came available. We thought that it was perfect for our family. We went ahead and bought it. And because we were moving back to a place where it was a high BAH again, we were like, okay, we've kind of drained our savings, but we'll be able to make it back.
Yeah. Don't worry
this
about
is
it.
okay.
Yeah. It'll be okay. We understand.
So what happens? My husband advances 2 months after we get there, and we get told that we're moving again. Oh, so going for anybody out there who knows the anything under the Mason-Dixon line before you get to Florida, the BAHs are nowhere near some of the other parts of the country.
Especially this area they're charging the BAH.
Yes.
And most renting, they know how
Yes.
much you make.
Yeah. So after buying 2 houses back to back, and
Having a baby.
having a baby, being able to
Moving.
work part of the time, not working another part of the time, this was probably like the worst time out of our entire relationship that this could have happened.
Yeah.
So it was just a huge eye opener, and hopefully they can get this thing worked out by the 15th, and but it's a huge learning curve. Huge learning curve. So
Yeah.
And how did this like affect you guys, like in your daily life? What has been happening at home?
like as far as our marriage, that's the crazy part, is that me and my husband, we have like this slapstick marriage at a time where we give each other like such a funny but like hard time.
Yeah.
But this has actually like helped our marriage so much more. It's like one of those things where like you just sit down with each other, especially after missing our second paycheck, and we were just like, okay, like we're gonna be okay. Like we got this house together. If we have to sell it, if we have to do whatever, if we have to move in with family, like it doesn't matter. We're a family. We got into this together, and this is not something that I would ever let us like lose each other on. Like money is the one thing that I always swore that I would never allow break up our family.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's really awesome that it's brought you close together, because I mean, like you said, like money is one of the biggest things that breaks up a marriage.
Yep.
And so something like this could either tear you apart or bring you together.
Right.
And you guys are so blessed to have each other. And,
yeah, absolutely.
and it sounds like
Absolutely.
your husband really like tried to shield you from a lot and be so
did.
strong for you.
Yeah.
He did.
No,
Yes,
seriously.
he really did.
The fact that he was so
absolutely.
optimistic and like just reassuring for you,
Yeah.
like that's huge. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And it was one of those things where I was in a really good position that, my son is older, and, if he needed to go to daycare or anything like that, I felt like he was ready for. I can't even imagine how the moms out there who are raising 2 or 3 kids that, would not financially be set for them, like for them to even pick up jobs. But, I felt really thankful in that moment where I was just like, okay, like, this is a time where my husband needs me and my family needs me. So this is what I've got to do. Like I've got to go find work. So
Yeah. And you did.
yeah, thank goodness.
Yes.
Yes. So
Really quickly.
Very
like,
nice.
I remember
Girl.
you saying like I'm putting applications in, and then like a
Yes.
week later you're like, I got a job.
Yes.
Starting a job.
I was
Yeah.
like just sending that resume out there as much as I could, and so that was like a huge relief. I think the biggest part, or at least the hardest part about being a military spouse and trying to work is that your schedule is always going to be up against your spouse's. So that's the one thing I always kind of worry about, but I think the schedule is going to work out, and I think the job will work out, so I'm super excited about it.
We're excited for you.
Yes.
We're really thankful that you
Aw,
found something.
thank you. What about you girls? Like when you guys first heard about the shutdown, what were you guys thinking?
I was beside myself. Like I remember getting on a group chat with all of you ladies, and it was like 11 o'clock at night, right after they told you that you wouldn't be paid.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I can't sleep. Like this,
Yes.
I can't believe this
I
is
remember
happening.
that night. I just like laid there in bed, and I was like, it was almost like a blessing that you guys, texted me that night, because I could not sleep. I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever been more stressed out in my entire life, because you start to think like, oh my God, like I really could lose my home.
Yeah.
Seriously.
So, and that's especially, when you're raising a child, like just those dark moments really hit you, where it's like, am I seriously like not going to have a home for my son? Like, what am I going to do?
I think it just, like you said, there's been so many government shutdowns in the past, but this was the first time, I think, for a lot of people that it affected somebody they knew so personally and on such a deep level. And it really, like, I feel like it's been different than any other time. Not just that it was the longest one that we've ever had, but the fact that a branch of our government, of our military, didn't get paid.
Yeah.
So I think, like, if it can happen to the Coast Guard, it just sets a very slippery slope for in the future. Like, if it can happen to you, then it can happen to any branch of the military.
Yeah.
And people really join the service. A lot of people, one of the reasons is for stability and knowing.
Absolutely.
You're literally signing away your life to say, hey, I'm here. Like, pay me and I'll do what you need me to do.
Yeah, but just
like,
knowing, like, you can depend on that paycheck every month. Like, that is a huge selling point for the armed services. And the fact that, you know, we told people who are serving our country and their families, like, we're not going to do that for you guys.
Yeah. Right.
That just, I think every military family goes to bed and just doesn't sleep as well.
It's heavy-hearted. No. We're all, like, sitting here. We know, like, Amanda hanging out, dude, it's fun. But it's like to think, like, you don't know what's going on at home.
No. Yeah.
Like, the stresses you have, and especially moving, and it's hard to build up a savings account when you're moving every 2 years or 4 years, and not having your house purchased, like, because you have to rent. Like, there's, like, things like that. Like, normal people don't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
But when you're in the military and you're literally moving and doing what they tell you to, and then, like, oops, sorry.
Yeah.
Can't pay you now.
So many military families live paycheck to paycheck, or even are on, like, government assistance. Like, there's a lot of military families who are on WIC or who are on food stamp program, and that's almost a double whammy, because now not only are you not getting a paycheck, but now you're not getting those other government assistance programs that you depend on and rely on.
Right, absolutely.
So yeah, it's just a really scary time, and I just feel like it makes you kind of open your eyes to what's going on, because if I'm being honest, like, I never really thought much of government shutdowns in the past. Like, it didn't affect me personally, so it wasn't something that I thought twice about, really. I was like, oh, this happens every year, like, it'll be fine. But I feel very fortunate that we all do have husbands who serve this country and make it so that we can pay attention to these things. And that from now on, I'm not going to take that for granted anymore. And, like, really start getting more involved in what's happening in our country, and not just standing by and watching it happen.
Absolutely.
Because for me, like, my husband was, whenever I first started to hear about, like, the possibility of one, my husband was on an underway, and I was staying with his grandparents.
Oh my God.
So I didn't exactly have any knowledge at all of what was going on. I just heard about it. And then finally, you know, it was the night that you messaged. It was like, okay, this is what's going on. You know, we are having government shutdown. You know, Coast Guard's not getting paid. But in the moment beforehand, I was just like, okay, well, one, I didn't think too much about it, because, you know, in the past it was only like 3-4 days. But also, I didn't hear what, you know, if it was just a small portion of the military or if it was the entire military. I had no idea. So I was like, okay, are we all not going to get paid?
That's what I was very surprised too. You know, when I found out that we were the only branch, like, not getting paid, I was like, how? And then I realized that, you know, Coast Guard's part of Homeland Security and all this stuff. It's a separate entity, but I was like, I really wonder if, you know, if all the branches were affected, if this would not get handled a whole lot quicker. You know.
Well, you would hope. You would hope so, but
absolutely.
at the same time, you would hope that it wouldn't have happened at all.
Absolutely.
It's just crazy. But yeah, that's probably scary when your husband was gone and you just hear this news, like, they're not going to be paying the military and
not knowing what branch. But whenever I got the message from you that night, like, especially in the group chat with us talking, like, I couldn't even really put into words. I couldn't respond because I didn't know how to respond to something like that. You know, it's one of those very sensitive topics, because you know, I didn't know in the moment like how you were gonna be feeling. You know, I didn't want to say something that was gonna upset you because I didn't.
You girls can never upset me. I think that's what I love about us is that we can always be, you know, honest with each other. So,
but it's just, you know, hearing about it, but not having to go through it.
Yeah.
You know, you don't really understand fully until you're in that position. You're in someone else's shoes.
Yeah.
So, just I feel like the biggest thing is making sure, you know, we're here to support you.
Yeah.
On top of, you know, if anyone else is able to support other people, I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Yes, and I mean, I love just the way like other branches, you know, and the community have really stepped up. Chesapeake has been having at Vertical Real Estate in Chesapeake, they've been having a food drive every weekend, even while the government shut down, like even while the government is open temporarily. I know your salon has been getting like free haircuts. When I actually went to the food bank this past weekend, and I was just so surprised, and just it really opened my eyes to see that I'm 99% sure that the Navy is the one who like are working these events. They're the ones that are like really giving the support. You know, they had Navy wives there, and you know, guys that were in the Navy just, you know, doing whatever they could to help all these people in the Coast Guard. And it was such a very humbling experience. I'll say that. Very humbling.
I think it's easy for everybody to see like the fact that just could have been them. And it really touched a lot of people.
That.
Yeah. And like, this could have been me. This could have been my family. Like,
Could have been the Navy. It could have been the Army. It could have been Marines. Like,
And that's
easily,
just crazy
like,
to think about. That is just
like
so crazy.
pulling it out of a hat. Who are we gonna?
And I've definitely been thinking, because like part of my family, like that, you know, they work for Homeland, so I've been, you know, trying to, you know, ask my husband, like, you know, hey, you know, how are they doing? Is everything okay? You know, making sure that they have what they need for right now. I mean, granted, if we could help more, you know, we could, you know, we would, but it's also one of those things where as long as I hear what's going on, and you know, staying up to date a little bit, just knowing that they're okay now. I mean, I guess it doesn't make it better, but it just makes me you understand.
Like, yes, absolutely.
You feel like you're in the loop, and you're not.
You're not just sitting kind of on the sideline.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
How about you, Olivia?
I just think my big takeaway from it, again, like Amanda says, I work for a salon that my boss literally sent a group message. She's like, there's a gift card at the front desk. If anybody, we had a lot of women calling and canceling their appointments. And they are loyal guests to us that come weeks and weeks at a time, like booked out. And she said, there's a gift card on the desk. You guys are getting paid for it. We're giving away free haircuts to Coast Guard. They just have to bring in their military IDs if they're affected by it. So like, to me, that was like a huge thing for her to do, and something that like any small business, if you're really like trying to support your community and grow that, like community growth, basically, like doing whatever you can to take care of these people that literally take care of us all the time, and they're sacrificing so much literally to guard our coasts and like craziness like that. Like anything that anybody can do, just do it. Like collecting food for food banks, or giving away, like we gave away haircuts. Like that's something that's maybe a 10-cent service for us. Like it's like really inexpensive, but it's our time, and that's what's important. So giving whatever you can.
And even if you're not able to fully give, because not everyone has that ability, you know, just making people aware. I think that's the biggest thing.
Messaging them. Hey, thinking about you. Have a great day. Hope everything's okay.
Support comes in so many different ways.
Absolutely.
So, I just, like, my heart really goes out to, the Coast Guard families who have loved ones over in Bahrain, because my husband was stationed in Bahrain, and that's an entire year.
Yeah.
You go an entire year. So their families are at home, dealing with this crisis. Hopefully they're able to get a hold of them. Like, you just have no idea. Like, in the first, 2 weeks, like, if your husband or your spouse is out to sea, you're just at home trying to handle everything, and you don't have their, just their voice on the other end saying, like, is this what we should do together? Is this, are you okay with these decisions that I'm making? You just have to roll with it.
Well,
it's
and
so scary.
And hopefully they had power of attorney, because if they didn't have power of attorney and your husband's overseas and maybe you can't even do anything, maybe you can't even apply for a loan or get the help that you need because you don't have that piece of paper.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's going forward, to be cautiously optimistic that this will get settled within the time frame that they've reopened the government, but to also be prepared for Coast Guard or just any branch of the service, really, that if you have a loved one who's going to be deployed and you're going to be home by yourself, to really make sure that you have something written down, a power of attorney that gives you access to emergency situations when this happens.
And the military does that for free, right? Like, you just go to their law offices. They handle all of that stuff for you.
I'm sure if you contact an ombudsman, am I saying that right?
Yes.
That they'll be able to get you in contact with who you need to.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
What else? What other advice would you guys give people who are going through this right now? I mean, I know, Amanda, you guys have looked into, you've called all of your creditors and your mortgage company, and I know you said that who you have your car loan through has been amazing, helping you guys out.
So they were able to, we bank our car loan through Chartway Federal Credit Union. And what they're doing is that they're just taking each month missed and putting it at the end of the loan.
That's amazing.
But they're not charging, like, any extra interest. So, like, even if we get back paid, we don't have to, like, rush and pay, $1,000. You know what I mean? Like, we can get caught up on stuff.
That's really good.
I think actually the hardest one to work with is student loans, because, I went to school for, many years trying to get my 4-year degree because we had to move so much. But yet my student loans aren't in my husband's name. So luckily we've been overpaying on them. So they were kind of able to stretch it to where we can miss, like, the next month and a half. But if this isn't, fixed by March, we're going to have to continue paying on my student loans, because they told me that this government shutdown doesn't affect me because I'm not in the military.
And his name isn't on the loan.
Right.
That's crazy.
Can you get a deferment just for financial reasons?
He just said to give a call back at the beginning of March if, we're still not paid, and they'll try to work something out.
Because I know that's something you can do.
But as of right now, that was the only thing that he could really do for us.
Of course.
So it's like,
Yeah.
But
and so the CGMA is offering loans.
Yes, the Coast Guard Mutual Assistance.
Yeah.
I believe they've upped their limits to $3,500 for dependents, with dependents, $2,000 without dependents, and then $1,500 for retirees. And they did release also, like, when their paybacks would be expected, so you could pay that off. They're going to give a 30-day grace period from when the shutdown ends, and then they'll take it out over 5 months, so it will be taken out over 10 payments.
Okay.
So,
awesome.
Which is a little bit of, relief, in case people have to pay their mortgages or their lights or heating,
everything.
Navy Federal also is a good place to go, I've heard. That they're helping out a little bit.
Yes, I believe they're offering interest-free loans as well, too. So, which is great. I think USAA is the only one that's not offering interest-free. I think theirs has an interest rate, so.
Which is surprising.
Yeah. Very surprising. So
And can't you donate? Isn't there donations if you want to help?
you can donate, but I believe it's only, you have to donate through the chaplain.
Okay.
You can't do like direct
To-
donations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Monetary, what are the rules on what to donate? What do they need?
I think that it's gift
Gift
cards
cards?
only. No cash.
No cash.
Yeah.
So like grocery store gift cards, like Walmart, Target,
Yes,
things like that. Are
And they're
good.
trying to keep it to $50
Yeah,
limit
yeah,
so they can
$50.
hand them off. So
Yeah.
smaller
Absolutely.
amounts are better.
Yep.
And
So-
another thing too, if you're a civilian or you just have a loved one who's being affected by this, like go to them personally and ask them. I mean, you don't have to do it in a way that's going to make somebody uncomfortable, but you know how to get somebody one-on-one and just be
Right.
like, hey, like, what do you need? Like, what can we help you with? And just personally contact the people that you know. Or like Olivia said, if you know a business in the community who can help out, just I feel like
Absolutely.
anything that people can do at this point.
Childcare,
Childcare is a
things
big
like
one.
that.
That is a huge one.
If you know like Amanda going back to work, like
Yes, that was huge just because, you know, you're trying to rush back to work in order to get an income, but at the same time, like 99% of childcares out there have a 2-month wait list.
Absolutely.
So luckily we were able to find one that had one spot opening, but definitely a blessing there. So
For sure.
yeah.
Anything else that you girls can think of that you guys wanted to touch base on?
I think that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
So I'm
Getting
sure we
more else,
will
we're all
have.
gonna
I'm
cry.
Sure, I'm sure we will have a
No,
lot
we
more
made
to
it
talk
through.
about if there's
Any
if it's
extension
shut
on
down on the
this.
15th.
Yes. Yes.
So everybody, please, you know, be aware that that second shutdown can be coming. Most likely will be coming. I can't tell anybody what to do. I would never want to do that. We did meet with financial advisors at the Chesapeake Food Drive who did suggest you know, with those next 2 paychecks coming, just kind of holding on to your funds as long as you can to pay for gas and food, because they are, you know, thinking that the next shutdown will be a lot longer, and that's why they're trying to get people some funds as soon as possible. So
And to file your tax returns
Yes.
while they're
Yes,
open.
yes,
File
right
them
now.
now. Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
I hope and pray that it gets resolved quickly, but
Yes.
I think everybody needs to be prepared in case that it doesn't.
hope for the best,
Yes.
prepare for the worst.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Yep.
So.
Well,
Thank you guys for watching. Our heart truly goes out to anybody who's being affected by this shutdown, military or not. We hope that we gave you guys a little bit of information where you can go, resources to get help if you need it.
Yes.
And we will talk to you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
Bye.